Hello, hello. Shot is here, aka Stefan. You can call me Stefan, you can call me Shot. In this video, I'm gonna make it super easy to understand in a simple way. Pretty much, I'm gonna teach you how to make AI and what is AI in the easiest and simplest way possible. Actually, I'm making a whole series like this. So in this YouTube series I'm creating, I'm gonna teach you how to make simple AI or AI in the simplest way and how to, just all that jazz essentially. I'm gonna help you understand step by step how to make your own AI and what it is actually under the hood, what it actually means. Oh, this is an AI model and how it works. I'm gonna teach all that in simple and easy, step by step. I can't emphasize that enough. All right, my background, I've been doing AI, data, machine learning, statistics, math, coding for like 7 years. So that's my background. So this series is both for people that don't know anything about coding, that don't know math, that hate math, that pretty much don't know anything about software, like people that feel like they know nothing about technology. This is for you. But also, if you know how to program and you know how to build software, this is also for you. So this is for a wide range of people that I'm building this for. Okay? And this series is also, I guess I should preface that in this series, I'm going to expose a lot of, not expose, sorry, I'm going to expose you to a lot of creators. I feel like a lot of teaching platforms will try to make you feel like you only can come to them for learning. No, AI is a community of people. I am not the only person you can learn from. Learn from other people as well. There's a group of people out there. You learn better when you learn from multiple different sources instead of just one source. That's how I learned AI, machine learning, and statistics. I learned from like 5-6 different sources, hence why I'm such an expert in it now, and I know different perspectives and stuff, right? So I'm gonna show you a bunch of creators that pretty much teach it really well. And there's no point in me reinventing the wheel. I'm gonna show you these creators, and I'm gonna add on to things that they aren't saying as well, so you can better understand. And I'll translate what they're saying if it gets too complex, so it's easy to understand for people that are not technical, that aren't good at math, that don't have a degree, all that kind of stuff as well. Okay. Thing of this channel is that like this series of videos are gonna be like a hub of the best videos on YouTube that I pick if I want someone to learn AI and stuff like that, right? So instead of you wasting your time trying to find the best videos to learn, then you go down a rabbit hole, I got you. I'm gonna show you the best videos to help you learn AI as fast as possible and as easy and simple as possible. Because AI is not that complicated, it's not that hard. It's very, very easy. Yeah, but anywho, let's pretty much just get into the video. Oh, also, you probably will need a computer or a laptop to follow along with certain stuff. Take notes using your computer, take notes using pencil and paper if you like, or if you don't want to write anything down, just watch the video 8 times. If you're the kind of person that hates taking notes, just watch the video 2 to 8 times and then you'll memorize it. You'll be a genius at that point. Cool? But in this video, I'm going to focus on breaking down what is AI, what is artificial intelligence exactly, because there's a huge confusion out there, and I'm going to end that right now with this video. Okay? I'm going to let him talk for a little bit, and then I'm gonna intervene here and there.
If you don't have a technical background, but you still want to learn the basics of artificial intelligence, stick around because we're distilling Google's 4-hour AI course for beginners into just 10 minutes. I was initially very skeptical because I thought the course would be too conceptual. We're all about practical tips on this channel. And knowing Google, the course might just disappear after 1 hour. But I found the underlying concepts actually made me better at using tools like ChatGPT and Google Bard, and cleared up a bunch of misconceptions I didn't know I had about AI, machine learning, and large language models. So, starting with the broadest possible question, what is artificial intelligence?
I will tell you right now, AI is not a magic box. AI is not alive. AI is a bunch of equations. That's all it is. You know the equation 1 + 1 = 2? That technically is something that's considered a model, a machine learning model, even if the case. Maybe that's too simple, but that's the idea. Imagine an equation like x + 1 = 5. And you got to figure out, 4 + 1 = 5, right? Basic math, right? That essentially is what machine learning AI is just a bunch of equations that spit out words. Instead it'll be x + 1 = jump. That's essentially what AI is. X + 1 = I like your mom. Right? That sentence is what the equation is spitting out, essentially. And then the x in the situation is your question. Hey, does my mom love me? That's your X plus 1 or plus 50 plus Y, all that stuff equals your mom hates you. That's what AI is in a nutshell. It's an equation. It gives the illusion that it's alive because of how well we create these things. Half our job as AI engineers is to make you think these things are alive for real. It's all an illusion, you guys. I need you to understand that.
Turns out, and I'm so embarrassed to admit I didn't know this, AI is an entire field of study, like physics. And machine learning is a subfield of AI, much like how thermodynamics is a subfield of physics. Going down another level, deep learning is a subset of machine learning, and deep learning models can be further broken down into something called discriminative models and
All right, before y'all say this is too confusing, everything he's talking about right now is just AI. Don't worry about what all these fancy words mean. Just know these are different subcategories of AI. So imagine like sports, like basketball, soccer, hockey. These are all sports, right? It's kind of what he's saying. Imagine machine learning is like hockey, deep learning is like basketball, and discriminative whatever is like tennis. He's just spelling out different subcategories within the subject itself. AI, aka artificial intelligence, is a big, broad subject space. It's not just one thing, right? Like grapes is a grape, but grapes also are technically fruit, right? So if you name a bunch of fruits, you got grapes, bananas, whatever, those all fall into the fruit category, right? That's what AI is. It's a category for a bunch of different things, okay?
generative models. Large language models, LLMs, also fall under deep learning, and right at the intersection between generative and LLMs is the technology that powers the applications we're all familiar with, ChatGPT and Google Bard. Let me know in the comments if this was news to you as well. Now that we have an understanding of the overall landscape and you see how the different disciplines sit in relation to each other, let's go over the key takeaways you should know for each level. In a nutshell, machine learning is a program that uses input data to train a model. That trained model can then make predictions based on data it has never seen before.
If you didn't understand that, all he's saying is that machine learning is pretty much you show it information, it learns information, now it can say stuff using that information, right? If I teach you how to golf, right, you learn the information, and now if I give you a golf ball, you'll be able to do a bunch of golf techniques. Similar concept. Very simple to understand.
For example, if you train a model based on Nike sales data, you can then use that model to predict how well a new shoe from Adidas would sell based on Adidas sales data. Two of the most common types of machine learning models are supervised and unsupervised learning models. The key difference between the two is supervised models use labeled data and unsupervised models use unlabeled data. In this
I'll recommend you take some notes. I'll break that down into a very simpler way. I'll break that down into a simpler way later for you guys. Just take some notes right now, but I'll let it run for the graphics. But just know he's explaining these subcategories right now. Okay, so a part of learning things is exposing yourself to them. If you don't understand it now, it's okay. You will understand it more later. It's just right now you're exposed to it for the first time.
supervised example, we have historical data points that plot the total bill amount at a restaurant against the tip amount. And here the data is labeled. Blue dot equals the order was picked up, and yellow dot equals the order was delivered. Using a supervised learning model, we can now predict how much tip we can expect for the next order given the bill amount and whether it's picked up or delivered. For unsupervised learning models, we look at the raw data and see if it naturally falls into groups. In this example, we plotted the employee tenure at a company against their income. We see this group of employees have a relatively high income to years worked ratio versus this group. We can also see all these are unlabeled data. If they were labeled,
take a note right now. This is a SVC model that he's showing you guys, or a logistic regression model. One of these two. Just write that down. But pretty much he's showing you the two different types of models. But there's a bunch of different kinds of models, you guys. There's a bunch of different kinds. So kind of like how there's a bunch of different kinds of sports, there's a bunch of different kind of models that exist, right? Like, for example, like basketball and tennis are considered hand sports per se, but then soccer and running are considered foot sports. That's what he's kind of breaking down right now just so you understand what he's doing. You can take your notes, but I'll explain these in a simpler way later.
We would see male, female, years worked, company function, etc. We can now ask this unsupervised learning model to solve a problem like, if a new employee joins, are they on the fast track or not? If they appear on the left, then yes. If they appear on the right, then no. Pro tip, another big difference between the two models is that after a supervised learning model makes a prediction, it will compare that prediction to the training data used to train that model. And if there's a difference, it tries to close that gap. Unsupervised learning models do not do this. By the way, this video is not sponsored.
So pretty much what he's trying to say is, and this is the thing people don't realize, AI doesn't just know stuff. AI only knows what you teach it. If you teach it only about golf, it's only going to know about golf. It's not going to know about football. It's not going to know about cooking. If you teach AI about cooking and about soccer, this AI might be able to talk about soccer shoes. Or it might be able to talk about chicken, because chicken is a very famous ingredient for cooking, right? If you ask it about making bombs, it probably won't know what you're talking about, because the stuff you taught it isn't within that realm of the subject. You see what I'm saying?
But it is supported by those of you who subscribe to my paid productivity newsletter, Machine Learning. It's a good time to talk about deep learning, which is just a type of machine learning that uses something called artificial neural networks. Don't worry, all you have to know for now is that artificial neural networks are inspired by the human brain and looks something like this. Layers of nodes and neurons. And the more layers there are, the more powerful the model. And because
essentially, neural networks are tiny brains that are empty that we create. Just know neural networks are math equations that simulate what a brain does. Our brains learn stuff and forget stuff, right? We've been able to make equations, mathematical equations, statistical equations that can copy kind of what the brain does in learning stuff in equation format. It's just when they show you these images and stuff, they don't show you the equations, they show you images to help you understand the concept.
we have these neural networks, we can now do something called semi-supervised learning, whereby a deep learning model is trained on a small amount of labeled data and a large amount of unlabeled data. For example, a bank might use deep learning models to detect fraud. The bank spends a bit of time to tag or label 5% of transactions as either fraudulent or not fraudulent. And they leave the remaining 95% of transactions unlabeled because they don't have the time or resources to label every transaction. The magic happens when the deep learning model uses the 5% of labeled data to learn the basic concepts of the task. Okay, these transactions are good and these are bad. Okay, apply those learnings to the remaining 95% of unlabeled data, and using this new aggregate data set, the model makes predictions for future transactions.
All right, I got you. What he's trying to say. Pretty much, when we have data, my friend, grab my cards. So, I got y'all. I got you guys. 1 second. Okay. We can main screen. All right, cool. So, imagine you want the AI to learn what each of these cards mean, right? The idea he's talking about is splitting the data. So, let's say you get a deck of cards. This is your data, right? Let's say each one of these is data. You cut it in half. And you cut it again in half. Cool. The right side that he was talking about, so this is the stuff that AI, you don't teach it this. Let's say you teach the AI this instead. So you're going to teach the AI to recognize each of these cards. So you'll teach it on all these. So what the AI is going to do is going to look at these cards. It's going to hide it real quick. They'll think about it. Okay, then they'll look at the cards again. And then they'll stop. And they'll look at it again. And they'll stop. That's kind of how these AI models learn. They'll look at the information. They'll look through the cards, okay? Then they'll sit down for a bit or think about it and do it again. Then once you're done training it, then usually when you give it to a customer or you give it to like someone to use it, now you give it the cards that it did not see before, and you try to see if it actually recognizes what it is looking at, and that's how you figure out if it's a good model or a bad model, essentially, right? If this says this is 1, the model was trained bad. If it says it's 10, it was trained good. If it says 10 of diamonds, it was trained really well, right? That's pretty much how that works, and that's what he's talking about right now. He's just speaking very fancy because he's technical and all that jazz. I'm trying to make sure people non-technical can understand this too. But yeah, that's pretty much that.
That's pretty cool. And we're not done because deep learning can be divided into two types: discriminative and generative models. Discriminative models learn from the relationship between labels of data points and only has the ability to classify those data points. Fraud, not fraud. For example, you have a bunch of pictures or data points. You purposefully label some of them as cats and some of them as dogs. A discriminative model will learn from the label, cat or dog, and if you submit a picture of a dog, it will predict the label for that new data point: a dog. We finally get to generative AI. Unlike discriminative models, generative models learn about the patterns in the training data. Then after they receive some input, for example, a text prompt from us, they generate something new based on the patterns they just learned. Going back to the animal example, the pictures or data points are not labeled as cat or dog, so a generative model will look for patterns. Oh, these data points all have 2 ears, 4 legs, a tail, likes dog food, and barks. When asked to generate something called a dog, the generative model generates a completely new image based on the patterns it just learned. There's a super simple way to determine if something is generative AI or not. If the output is a number, a classification, spam, not spam, or a probability, it is not generative AI. It is Gen AI when the output is natural language, text or speech, an image or audio. Basically, generative AI generates new samples that are similar to the data it was trained on. Moving on to different generative AI model types, most of us are familiar with text-to-text models like ChatGPT and Google Bard. Other common model types include text-to-image models like Midjourney, DALL-E, and Stable Diffusion. These can not only generate images, but edit images as well. Text-to-video models, surprise, surprise, can generate and edit video footage. Examples include Google's Imagen Video, Cog Video, and the very creatively named Make a Video. Text-to-3D models are used to create game assets, and a little-known example would be OpenAI's Shape-E model. And finally, text-to-task models are trained to perform a specific task. For example, if you type @Gmail, summarize my unread emails, Google Bard will look through your inbox and summarize your unread emails. Moving over to large language models, don't forget that LLMs are also a subset of deep learning, and although there is some overlap, LLMs and Gen AI are not the same thing. An important distinction is that large language models are generally pre-trained with a very large set of data and then fine-tuned for specific purposes.
Essentially, LLMs, you teach it a bunch of stuff, and then when you want it to be specialized, it's kind of like a human, right? When a human is born, they know no skills. Their brain kind of knows the basic stuff of living. By the time someone's like 16 years old or 18 years old, didn't go to college yet, they have no real skills per se if their parents didn't teach them anything. That person is kind of like a pre-trained model, right? A LLM. They can talk English, they can speak the language, they can do basic things like, oh, go here. It understands what go here is, right? People understand that. But now, when people go to college or they learn a skill, they go to a job, now they are fine-tuned, right? Fine-tuned means you specialize that person. You get it specialized in a particular subject area. The person at Starbucks that takes your coffee drink, they are a specialized LLM that was fine-tuned. That's the best example, because now when you actually say, hey, I would like this, it knows to say, oh, here's your order or how much this costs. That is essentially a fine-tuned LLM, right? But like I said, and when it's pre-trained, it's just someone that's 18 years old that knows the basic laws of society, that can speak English, that knows basic rules of everything, right? It knows how to move and it can follow orders, right? That's an LLM that's pre-trained, or most LLMs are like that. That's how they operate.
What does that mean? Imagine you have a pet dog. It can be pre-trained with basic commands like sit, come, down, and stay. It's a good boy and a generalist. But if that same good boy goes on to become a police dog, a guide dog, or a hunting dog, they need to receive specific training so they're fine-tuned for that specialist role. A similar idea applies to large language models. They're first pre-trained to solve common language problems like text classification, question answering, document summarization, and text generation. Then, using smaller industry-specific data sets, These LLMs are fine-tuned to solve specific problems in retail, finance, healthcare, entertainment, and other fields. In the real world, this might mean a hospital uses a pre-trained large language model from one of the big tech companies and fine-tunes that model with its own first-party medical data to improve diagnostic accuracy from x-rays and other medical tests. This is a win-win scenario because large companies can spend billions developing general-purpose large language models, then sell those LLMs to smaller institutions like retail companies, banks, hospitals, who don't have the resources to develop their own large language models, but they have the domain-specific.
Yes, so pretty much to make your own LLM that's as strong as ChatGPT or Cloud AI or Gemini or Meta's AI, you need to have at least $10 billion. At least, maybe at least $5 million. Now that it already exists and we know how it works and stuff. But it costs a lot of money to train these big behind models like ChatGPT and stuff like that. So, and he's correct about the model right now. So most people actually can't make LLMs. Now, I can make an LLM from scratch that actually won't cost all that money, but it will take a lot of time. And eventually, down the line in the series, I'm going to make a project that pretty much is an LLM from scratch. So I'll teach you how to make your own ChatGPT from scratch. But we'll just make like a small portion of it because making the whole thing is going to take forever, and I'm by myself. So it's going to take me like probably like 6 months to a year to build my own LLM, and even then it won't be as good as ChatGPT. It'll be decent, but so you can get the concept of how to make your own and how it works under the hood, and stuff like that. So I can make my own. It's possible, but it takes a lot of time. If you don't have the money, it takes a lot of time, and yeah, and also you need a pretty good PC as well, or you need to pay for something that you can run it on. But I'll teach you all that later down the line. Yeah, but just understand that it's really expensive to make these things. But to fine tune them is usually on the cheaper side, but it's not as cheap as you might think depending on how much data you're training on. The more data you fine tune a model on, the more expensive it is, right? Kind of like if people that have high salaries at jobs, think of them as they're fine tuned on a lot of data, hence why they're so expensive. But people like at Starbucks or gas stations, they're not paid that much because they're only fine tuned on a little bit of information, right? Like most people can pick up these jobs within like a week versus becoming a professional programmer or becoming an AI programmer or even becoming an artist, right? Like a physical or becoming a 3D artist. These things take years and years and a lot of information to take. Hence, they cost a lot. Same concept for fine-tuning models. The more information you need to teach it, the more expensive it is to fine-tune them.
Data sets to fine-tune those models. Pro tip, if you do end up taking the full course, I'll link it down below, it's completely free. When you're taking notes, you can right-click on the video player and copy video URL at the current time so you can quickly navigate back to that specific part of the video. There are 5 modules total and you get a badge after completing each.
Alright, cool. So now I'm going to add on to this video like I told y'all before. So now I'm going to show y'all this picture right here. This is a picture right here. Pretty much, this picture is to explain to you something. People don't realize AI has been around for years. Since the 1960s, I believe, AI has been around. People don't realize this. They think it's like this new thing, but the problem with society is that they don't learn stuff until it's hot, popular, or it threatens their jobs, right? So, here are some examples of AI that's existed for a long time and you didn't care about until now. Siri, Alexa, autocorrect. When you're texting people, sorry. It spoke to me. Autocorrect. So when you're texting people or you're emailing people and you say that autocorrect, that's been around forever. That's AI. YouTube algorithm, TikTok algorithm, Instagram algorithm, that algorithm, Netflix algorithm, the algorithm that recommends videos, shows you what video you watch next. All that is AI. It's been around at Facebook. All of that is AI. The next thing you see is based on the first thing you watched. It learns your patterns. That's machine learning. That's AI. That's deep learning. Deep learning, machine learning, all of that is AI. Okay, understand that. Cool? So the algorithms just learn what people like and show you what you like. Pretty straightforward. Clippy. If you're old, Windows XP, Clippy, that was one of the first AI models. ChatGPT's AI. Cloud AI is my favorite one. That's cool. Gemini, Meta's Llama, all that stuff. These are examples of AI people don't think about nowadays. Cool. And I'm going to go over more types, right? So machine learning, All you need to know what machine remember, I'm trying to keep it very, very simple. Machine learning is pretty much Spotify music recommendation. It hears the music you like, it recommends more music like that music. So it learns that. YouTube video recommendation, Netflix movie, Google ads. Google ads. When you get shown a Google ad, it's not random. It knows what you like, so it shows you something based on what you like, or it learns who you are. That's why I'll never get tampon ads. I will get shaving ads for my face, or I'll get Nike shoe ads or stuff like that, because it knows I'm a guy, right? It knows I'm a traditional masculine male. Let me show him this. There's a high chance he'll like it. That's machine learning. Pretty much. Oh, and also Google spam folder. Like, you know how you get emails that go automatically to your spam folder? The emails getting automatically sent to your spam folder, that's an AI that kind of figures out, spam emails tend to have the same pattern, and then it throws into that box for you. So pretty much machine learning models are good at recognizing patterns. Then we got NLP, aka natural language processing, aka Grammarly. If you're a student, you use Grammarly. Google Translate is an NLP model. Siri is an NLP model. I didn't activate it this time. Alexa is an NLP model. ChatGPT is also an NLP model. And pretty much what these things are good at, they're good at sentiment analysis. What is sentiment analysis? If I talk like this, I sound kind of like a certain way. If I talk like this, you kind of get different vibes. The AI is able to recognize those different vibes. So if I talk kind of like angry, like, hey, don't do that, it recognizes that's angry. If I say, hey, don't do that, say, oh, you're silly. Hey, don't do that. That sounds happy, right? The AI, these things are good at recognizing different tones and different words that might be used. Like if I were to curse you out and be like, hey, put a sock in it. It realizes put a sock in it. The person might be agitated, right? Things like that. So that's what NLP models are. Then we have, then they're also good at answering questions. Pretty straightforward. Alexa, Siri, Google Translate, all that stuff. ChatGPT, great at answering questions. Then you have translation, one language to another language. But the reason why ChatGPT is so good at programming or spitting out code is because code is a language. It's translating English into code. Coding itself is a language you are learning. That's why it's so good at this particular thing called programming, because it's learning a language. So actually, you can have Python code get translated to C# code and vice versa. Stuff like that. You can change one code into a whole different other language in another code, but it won't be one-to-one because a lot of coding language have their own little thing. But don't worry about that if you're not technical. That's for the technical people, okay? And then text classification is the last thing that NLP is good at. Text classification is recognizing like the word water. Water is a noun, but also can be a verb, right? Watering a plant, right? Did you water the plants today, or did you drink some water? Noun or verb. Or it recognizes that water is a liquid, right? Things like that. That's text classification. So these are good at that. Next, we have computer vision. Computer vision is pretty much Tesla autopilot, pretty much Face ID on your iPhone, pretty much Snapchat filters. This is computer vision. Pretty straightforward. I didn't get the idea. It just recognizes what it's looking at. It recognizes, like, if you take a picture of me right now, it knows that I am black. This is a bottle, right? Or I'm brown technically, but whatever, right? It understands what it's looking at. Object detection is realizing that there's a bottle in the picture itself. Things like that. And then text to image is kind of like, when you take a picture of like some documents and you want to turn it into like a Google Sheet that you can type on and stuff like that. That's text to image essentially, OCR I think it's called, or whatever, something like that, ORC, whatever it's called. But to be honest, these models make a lot of mistakes. Normally, they're not the best right now. There's no perfect model that can do that very well. If you haven't guessed yet, this is AI generated because there's 2 misspellings in this. Let me know if you can find out which 2 words are misspelled. There's 2 of them, only 2. Did a pretty good job actually. I've been messing with this new model and it's really cool. So I'm getting excited off beat. The next subcategory of AI is robotics. Drones, gimbals, like if you do like the gimbal camera thing, people do the cool camera work. There's an AI in there too. Self-driving cars, we already said that. Pretty much they're good at making decisions. They're good at making their own decisions without people telling them right away what to do. Next is expert systems, aka TurboTax. If you don't know what that is, pretty much expert systems learn rule-based systems and then they can apply these rules. So TurboTax is able to do your taxes for you because it understands the rules of taxes. An example, if you don't know what the heck how taxes work, it's kind of like what's an example of an expert system? Kind of like an AI that can answer math questions really, really well, right? Like it becomes an expert at math because math has rules. It understands those rules, so it can answer any equation or problem you give it based on the rules. Think of it like an algebra solver. It's focused just on algebra. Imagine an AI that solves algebra equations. That's an expert system because it learns the rules of algebra, right? Generative AI, ChatGPT for text generation. Also, it can make images now. Midjourney makes images. Dolly makes images. ChatGPT again makes paragraphs, PDFs now, code. 11 Labs makes voices, like it generates voices, and then Runway generates videos. So generative AI makes something that's unique that has been made before, technically. But yeah, essentially everything I mentioned now are all the subcategories of AI. Like I said before, think of AI as the word sport, and all these fancy colors and boxes are the different sports and what each sport involves. That's what you're learning essentially, okay? Or let's say you don't know nothing about sports. Think of this as your face. Let's say AI is the word facial routine, right? To cleanse your face and do your face. Each one of these colors is a different type of thing for your face. You got the cleanser, you got the foundation, you got the exfoliator, you got the serum. I got you, ladies. That's what this is. All right. So imagine AI is the word like makeup slash facial routine, and the colors are different types of products y'all use on your face, and each one's good at certain different things and whatever. I got you, ladies. Okay. So yeah, but like I said, once again, remember, AI is statistics and math equations. Okay, AI has limitations and it always makes mistakes. AI has, I think, a 20% mistake rate at the moment, which is about the same as humans when they work. So AI doesn't always say the correct thing. It's wrong 20% of the time. Or it'll give you like some information like this, and 20% of it might be wrong, or less than that. Let's say two letters being wrong, and that's like 0.1% incorrect, maybe 0.01% incorrect, because there's a lot of letters in this. But that's not too bad. But the longer the information gets, or the bigger the image gets, the more likely it'll get some errors in there, right? And people that just kind of read these things, don't double check them, are in trouble. So right now, AI will not take jobs because AI always makes mistakes, and you need people to double check these mistakes. Okay, so I just killed that right there. Yeah, and I already said this too. AI only knows what it's taught, and it can't understand stuff that is not taught. And lastly, about AI is that AI is very biased, right? What this means is that a lot of LLMs are taught using the internet. If the internet itself, if society as a whole agrees on a particular thing to be okay and not okay, AI is going to pick up on that. It won't kind of create its original biases. So let's say 90% of the internet agrees that God is real. The AI will have a bias towards saying things that allude to that it thinks God is real. Let's say majority of the internet talks about there is a man and there is a woman. The AI is going to start alluding to the idea of only two genders versus multiple, because majority of the internet, when it first was created, when the internet was first created, the first websites up until now, a lot of them talk about men and women and just that. The new information of multiple genders is a new thing, so the AI will have a low chance of actually mentioning that, or it'll have a less bias towards it, but it'll definitely have a higher chance of mentioning that it's only two genders, right? Because the internet, majority of websites use that kind of language. In Spanish and other languages too, when they have the genders, it's only two genders in certain languages like Spanish. So it's going to be biased towards having a two-gender mindset. And that's just because that's what it's taught on, majority of what it's taught on. So a lot of AI is biased. So some information, or some questions you ask it might be some biased answers that you won't like, because the internet is just majority, it's just taught on the internet. You can't kind of control it. You can fine tune it on new information now, and now it'll be up to date. You can do that to solve the problem. And also, there's a way to make sure AI says exactly what you want to say. I will teach you down the line in this course on how to make AI say exactly what you want it to say without any mistakes, right? We can lower the mistake rate to literally 0.0001, right? There are techniques to do this. But I'll teach you guys later in the series. Now, I also want you guys to focus on learning techniques. I don't want to just teach information and you guys don't retain it. I'm going to teach y'all some learning techniques that I personally use, and that's really, really effective. So one of them is pretty much, let me pull it over here, quizzing yourself. When you take notes, written notes, or picture notes, You can send it. You can take a picture of your notes and put it on ChatGPT itself, or you can copy and paste the notes here, or you can type them out yourself. So let's say it has some notes and whatever. You place the notes here. So let's say notes. I'll say pretend I pasted notes about, oh my goodness, I cannot type notes about making So this is like, and you just do this too. So you copy your notes in, you type, give me 5 multiple choice questions on AI based on the notes. Allow me to answer them. Give me the answers after I submit. Matter of fact, I'll make sure it's exactly what it is. About what is AI? On what is AI / AI basics. Man, if I'll make this bigger for y'all, because I know some of y'all blind. I got you. See, there we go. Okay, cool. Give the answers after I submit my choices. Cool. Hit submit. Now it's gonna perfect. So as you see, this is how I learn a lot of things so fast. I literally learn so many things super quickly, right? Let's say, okay, I'm just put random stuff in. I'll put shift enter. I'll hold shift, press enter. Then I'll press like B. Then I'll hold shift, press enter. D. I'm not even reading these, by the way, you guys. I probably should answer these so y'all know that I'm qualified to teach y'all. But people are gonna doubt it because of how I look. But hey, it's okay. It's part of the game. All right, cool, nice. So I'm gonna send this over. Cool. And it even gives you explanation. So this is how y'all can learn based on the notes that y'all write, based on these videos that I give you guys, okay? So I'm giving you some extra value. Next, another way to learn really fast is by doing, is creating images or graphics for your notes. So all you gotta do is type in Google Drawing into Google or whatever, and then click the link, and you should get something like this, right? You can make your own drawings. I prefer to go to File, Page Setup, not that. Actually, right click this, background, make it white, or you can make it black. Preferably in this situation, I'll make it white just because you can do whatever color you want. And you can create images for your note. So let's say I want to make a note real quick based on that stuff I taught y'all. So let's say I want to insert, and you can just, and there's YouTube tutorials on how to use Google Drawing. So just look up on YouTube how to use Google Drawing or Google Drawing tutorial. It'll show you guys. So let's say I'm going to make a shape like a circle. Boom. All right, I'll hold shift and then pull this out. All right, bet. And I'll do like, let's do like AI, right? And then boom, I'll make this like 30, whatever, cool. And then let's say I want to shrink this. Cool, right? Bam. And then now to make my notes make sense, I'm gonna get the line, insert. Let me get an arrow, actually. I want an arrow. You can do lines, but I like doing arrows when I do my graphics. Right, make my thing nice and long. I'm gonna turn it a little bit. Oh, actually, hold on, sorry. Turn it a little bit, beam, okay. Go like that. I'll hit Control C, hit Control V. Right click. I'm trying to show you how cool this thing is. Rotate, flip vertically. No, I want to flip horizontally. Cool, there we go. So I do that, boom, and there's a lot of guides too. Control V, do another one. Let me just rotate this like this. Cool, right? And you guys can make your own graphics. So let's say I want to do like, I need another shape, and I'll do like a square now. Boom, boom. Okay, you want to be stupid. Okay, there we go. Boom, boom. I'm not gonna organize it super nice, just so you can get the idea of how to use this tool yourselves. yeah, and you can change the colors of stuff. Like I can make this red. I can make this a different blue. I can make this green. Like there's so many ways you guys can use this stuff, and you can type inside of this, right? So you decide you kind of make your own notes. You can get creative too. There's a lot of cool creative stuff you can add in this. There's a lot of cool shapes. Like you have heart, you have clouds and stuff like that. You can get really creative with this. And if you want to turn this into an image, you can just file. You can download, and you can download it as an image, PDF, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then you can use this to make notes, and this will help you to learn faster by making your own visual notes. I have a technique where I kind of make my own images in my head, but I practiced that for years though. It's a memorization technique that a lot of speed memory learners use. It's like it's like a competition on memorizing stuff. It's like an actual thing. I learned some of those techniques, but there's that technique. And then lastly is spaced learning. I recommend learn something one day and take a whole break from it for the next day, right? Or let's say you learn something, look at it after 3 hours. If you learn something on Tuesday, check it again on Thursday. That's spaced learning. Don't just read something over and over again in the same day and think you'll get it. Read it like for 5 minutes, come back after 2 hours, read it again for 5 minutes. That is actually very effective for learning, okay? Yeah, but that's pretty much that. And I'm offering one-on-one tutoring and one-on-one teaching, or group teaching and group tutoring. So if you would like to learn from me personally, like I said, if you want to see my credentials, I can send my resume. I can send you my projects that I've worked on. You can quiz me if you want, and you can interview me on a bunch of AI questions or whatever. But the point is, yeah, I'm just joking. But I mean, you can do that if you want. But the point is, I'm offering one-on-one teaching. If you would like, check the comment section. No, what's it called? It's called the description section below the video. My email is there. Email me if you want to learn from me directly. I'll walk you through the process step by step. I'll make everything easy, simple, not that hard, and all that jazz. But yeah, just hit me up, guys. I'm very chill, very friendly. And like I said, my goal is to teach people that aren't that good at this kind of stuff, or they just want to learn. You know, they just want to learn, or they want to use it they want to get a job in this space, or they want to use it for their job. I can teach that too. I can teach how to integrate AI into your systems. Let's say you have a company and you want to have the whole company learn how to use AI. Call me and I'll teach your whole company, your whole department, how to use things like ChatGPT, or how to use automation tools to automate things. I can teach all that, but you'll see more of my expertise down in the next couple of videos in this series. Okay, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you have any questions, comment below or email me any questions you have, and I'm here for all of you guys. Appreciate it, and peace.